sitting here watching this stream today, you cannot underestimate how ahead of the curve you are right now.
Bitcoin looks tired. All coins look hungry.
I'm just not quite sure that Bitcoin has any more solves.
I still think this thing is really worth a lot more than it is.
This stuff's spooky, man. These chaos PRZs are intense.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Solana is highly performant and has the team with the experience to support it.
$4,800 Ethereum. That's a big, big move here.
Whatever you do, always play from a position of strength. I think you're going to be bigger than me in this shot. It's going to look funny. Yeah, sit back a bit. Shrink. Quickly. You got to shrink. You're bigger than me today. Welcome back, everybody. Boom. It's DeltaFi Wednesdays at Hxro Labs with myself, RT, Random Task, wearing a white shirt. Oh, my God. How did I miss this in the makeup section? With Rob Levy. Old RL hanging out with RT. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, bud. How are you?
Not bad. I mean, you know, slept at weird times this week. Baby was up last night at like 4 a.m. I was already up because crypto, like 2:30 on my phone, like, what's going on? And then slept from like 5 a.m. to 9:30. So I kind of missed what I wanted to do, which was to buy like the weird dump on Wrap Memo. And then by the time I found it, I was like, don't want it anymore. So yeah, just kind of a weird day. But I worked out yesterday for the first time since moving to the new place. We've had all this stuff set up. Little bench and some weights, and I hadn't lifted yet. So yesterday I had a good 45 minutes. I did some burpees. I did some shit I hate doing. So that feels good. That's I'm on the come up. I got to get my process back. My process was butchered through the bull market, as it does, right? You start off, post bear. I'm like, I'm going to nail this process, every single thing, just the way I decided, like I'd write it up. And then throughout the bull, you just get so complacent. I was just like, there's a fucking shiny new thing. I'll just buy way more than I should. And you get rewarded for it, for the most part. And then you spend about a month as the market pivots, getting pounded for such actions, which I admittedly did in the last few weeks. I'll be fine. I play from a position of strength. I didn't stop doing that, but I definitely am out of touch with my process. So my goals, and I wrote it back to the journaling. I'm legit 100% every day journaling, like 10 minutes. And I wrote out a list of things I need to do to get back to the process that I want. And I'm going to start chipping away at it. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I'm desperately trying to reduce, not even reduce exposure at this point. I think my exposure is where it's going to be for now. Unless we do lose the next low, in which case I will puke a couple things. But I want to reduce my daily swings. It's very hard to focus when there's just too much volatility in your own portfolio. So things like if I'm going to buy some Bitcoin, which I did on Monday, I'm not buying a fuckload so that I have to stare at it. I'm not levered long, So just reducing that kind of noise so that I can get back to brass tacks. And then I'll add some more, fuel to the fire over the next little while until I find that sweet spot where I'm tracking everything really well, but also, not aping too heavily. Yeah, mostly for taxes, man. Taxes were a wake-up call. They're like, we need every single transaction you made last year. I'm like, what? Not even God knows every single transaction I made last year. So, yeah. Anyways. Enough about me. Let's talk FOMC. I know you watched it. I know you heard it. I know you kind of understand that stuff. Can you take us through what the hell JP's talking about? Because I don't know.
Dude, he doesn't fucking know.
Good start.
The way that everybody sits on every single word he says. He has to be so careful not to say one wrong word. He can't even speak. It's such a dance. It's such a delicate little dance that they're playing. They're fucked. They can't do much. Interest rates here already out of the developed nations they're higher than everywhere else. We cannot raise too much without the whole fucking earth collapsing. I think, everybody's scared right now. Bitcoin's selling off. I think it's just, this is the the macro now. You know, like we're trading the NASDAQ now until we're not.
Here's the NASDAQ.
Yeah, NASDAQ had a, was up big today. Final, like one day was kind of bouncing back, and then from the beginning of pretty much Powell's press conference through the end, it just completely shit the bed.
I zoomed in right here for that because look, and I don't know about you. Do you trade this stuff live? Do you ever try to get into the grease on it? Because I've been told never touch that shit on FOMC, like big FA days. I was taught explicitly, do not.
We have no edge there.
Yeah.
We have zero. We have less. We have negative edge there.
You have anti-edge. Yeah.
Yeah.
You think you're reacting to it, but you're really getting taken. And that's really what happened here across the board, right? It was like, oh, FOMC's live. Oh, it's bullish, tank it. And I think, unless you were in there, like, look, I had a spot Bitcoin position. Let me get to the chart I've been actually charting. Where am I charting? This one here. I picked up some spot ETH and spot BTC on Monday. Not, a little bit here, but a little bit more here. And going into this, and I saw this little candle. I was like, you know what? I don't want to be a part of this, thing. I don't want to look and be like, oh, I should have sold, should have bought. I don't care. So I did cut those, made a nice little profit for the week, but this sweep, and I actually looked away. I was dealing with some other bills and shit I'm setting up, and I looked back and I was like, oh, and like, yeah, it's not pretty. Really pretty was this ABCD pattern that I had drawn up. I didn't set my bid ask here. I was just kind of playing it by ear on the way up because I really do think we have a bigger squeeze coming, but I looked at it today. I was like, oh, fuck, that thing pipped. So that's kind of fun, TA works. Discipline is the other part of that. Anyways, we're coming into levels that I was, I'm juicy on. I like them. I like the idea. I think right here, there was no follow through on momentum indicators. MACD had already kind of started rolling over. The RSI did not follow price. So this was a trap, and it's going to flush, and we're going to have a debate. We're going to have a debate at this level pretty much right now, starting today. Let's go zoom out, see what the hell is this level. I have to remember too, yeah. This is the kind of like, this is the breakout support, right? So this is like the Wyckoff check. You have your big W from the summer bear, nice ABCD pattern. Another one of those we just saw on the low time frame. You can do them here too. Sorry, going off on a bit of a tangent here, but that's what we do. Yeah. Right here, pretty close. Little 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern. ABCD. So that completed, and now we're just back into that level. And that's so often how markets work. Bing, 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 crank, back down to level. This is not a place for me ever. We talked about this last week, to just suddenly be like, okay, now I'm bearish. It's been bearish.
Yeah.
It's been in a downtrend for friggin' 3 months. So if anything, and we talked about this actually here last week, and I said, I don't really have any short setups. I have some long setups. Well, they got busted. I don't change my tune even closer to what is ideally like really a better setup. I thought this view of Bitcoin is interesting to me. This is the one I've been kind of working with on the daily. And it's this, let's see right here, get from the start of this low up here, we get that VPVR fat node here looking to get filled in, I think, gap. So I expect to see some ranging in here. You just don't want to lose this. You don't want to lose this low 30s. You certainly don't want to lose the summer lows. That's where shit gets real nasty. And, maybe even comes back up, but then, it's lights out. Lights out if we lose this level. My favorite line.
Yeah.
But we're in here. We're still trending down. There's a lot of time left if you want to be patient and conservative and wait for a proper trend reversal. But on the low time frames, I found some reasons to get long on Monday, so I did. And I cut them today because I just wanted to see how that FOMC would play out. And now I'm in a position of strength. I can maybe get into this reload zone even. It's in the PCZ now. Maybe I get into here. I don't know. So that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah. What's that level there? What's the PCZ there?
Well, we're right in it. I'd say it's like right here, 36, 35.9 is the low end of it. Pretty pitiful buy action here on the 4 hour. One of the things that got me long on Monday was the 1 hour. That's actually the time frame I was trading. Where was it? well, last week it was a little bit here. You know, you can get faked out by that stuff. That's why you manage risk. But like, where was Monday? Was it the 24th? Yeah. God, it's been a weird week. Basically right here. And we dipped. I didn't even have these lines drawn up, so I can get rid of those little range I was playing with after the fact. But it was basically like, hey, fall asleep, and then you wake up to the Monday open, and all the momentum indicators like did not follow this move down on the 4 hour. Pure bullish divergence, right? The RSI was trending up. This thing dumped down Monday morning, and I just, thank God I put it in the pit. You know, we were chatting. I said, this is probably the long if we're trying to get long today. Right here, where it was just, we were right in on the 15-minute that morning, and it just watching the market open, and it was just kind of like, yeah, let's, you know, right in here. That's probably your long. If you want to be a bull, you can risk to that low and just hope they don't sweep. And it paid off. So for all the chop and bullshit, it was a decent little day, a decent little week, and now we're kind of doing what you'd expect after you see this kind of rising, slow, grindy price action into that event. Sweep it, dump it. So we'll see. Look, guys, it's not going to be an easy year. I don't think it's going to be an easy year for anyone who's just like kind of half-assing it, foot in the door, foot out the door, like, hey, I'm just going to hold some cryptos and get, you know, you got to think long-term on a year like this. I think it's going to be a nasty son bitch. So just be aware of that. I've been trying to like ink out my thoughts. You know, I had this up earlier. I was playing with this, you know, this kind of crazy, hard to read chop, and all through here you can imagine the narratives, right? We're going to the bottom, we're going to the moon, we're going to the, it's gonna, I think it's at best is going to be a sideways, really choppy year. Yeah. Obviously at worst is we just lose these lows. So
yeah,
what do you think?
I always have, I've never been one to say what the year is going to be like. You know, I can't ever, I feel like I don't have good feel for that. Because one thing I know is that markets, they are way more volatile than we think they can be. Like, clearly you go through periods where there's low volatility, but these are living, breathing, emotional, psychological, this big melting pot of all of that stuff, right? And people selling when they're forced to sell, buying because they feel they missed the best opportunity, and then buying range highs, and it's just this, you know, this nasty organism. And you know, I don't know. I mean, stuff can get crazy. Like, it could be a rangy, choppy year for sure. We could also, like, we could do some crazy stuff. I mean, I don't know.
You could. Well, of course, right? Yeah. We could go either way.
It's nutty. It could very well be that way. I mean, the macro picture is people believe that this end of QE is going to hurt. And, you know, we hear
tapering.
Tapering, and then reducing the balance sheet. I think there is a much more difficult position that the Fed is in than, you know, they would like us to believe. I don't think they feel super comfortable. I mean, all we hear right now is that there's great growth, there's full employment. You know, if you want a job, you can go get a job. I don't know. I think there's like, this has been a crazy, weird couple years. I mean, you can go get a job at a restaurant because no one wants to be working at the restaurant, and restaurants are not doing well. Like, it's like, you know, COVID stuff. Yeah. And I don't know. I honestly, bottom line is there's so many variables. The supply chain issue, right? So the supply chain issue is working like two ways. Chairman Powell says, well, supply chain issue could maybe hold back growth because we just don't, you know, we can't be building enough stuff because we can't get enough chips, and we can't get enough of this for the cars and for this and whatever. But then again, the supply chain issue is kind of causing this inflation, prices going up because people can't get their hands on shit. So they're like paying extra for stuff and jumping the queue, and like weird stuff's going on when I talk to my more industrial friends who are actually like moving lots of physical stuff around the world. So
what are they saying? Like, is it getting better? Is it getting worse? What's their projections?
Not
is it gonna
getting
get
better. Issues in the metals markets, issues getting stuff from China, issues. They don't see getting any better. So what does that mean? Like, you know, we all think, okay, we've got inflation, 7%, 6%, whatever we want to call it. That's why we own Bitcoin, right? If inflation is too hot, so then they've got to pull back on this monetary policy. They've got to tighten. But I don't think they have that much room to tighten already. You know, like US rates are already higher than Japan, than all of Europe, than, you know, the main parties here of developed countries. So I honestly think they're in a tough spot. And the bottom line is inflation as it is with monetary bases expanding is bullish Bitcoin. There's the other side of this too is, you know, if the US starts raising rates and the dollar strengthens, it's every more reason for every other country or people in those countries to want to own Bitcoin. Their stuff, their currencies are going to be further depreciating against
getting rinsed. Yeah.
So I'm just not, I'm sorry, I'm just not bearish Bitcoin here. It doesn't mean that the thing can't get rinsed.
Yeah.
And you know, everyone's talking about Arthur Hayes, you know, sweep of the lows and all this stuff. Arthur's good, but he's also been wrong before. He thought we were going way lower once before when we never looked back. So
is he in prison?
Great. He turned defensive like at the very right time when we were way up higher.
Is he in prison? Where is he tweeting from?
No, he's not.
He's on the run at one point.
Dude, Arthur's worth, you know.
I know billionaires don't go to prison, but like, where is he? Where is he? Wasn't he like just?
I don't know. He was
hiding.
He was just skiing. He said.
Oh.
I mean, his blog.
I don't know why I didn't think he was in jail, but I'm like curious. I'm like, wasn't he arrested or I don't know? But he's enjoying. You know, he should be enjoying what he earned by grinding up BitMEX. But I mean, look, I'm with you in the sense that, and I was actually talking to Gunny last night. He couldn't be here today with us, but he and I are both of the mind that it feels more likely that we're in a consolidation year than like a big, nasty, dirty, gross bear. Now, look, this is the be-all, end-all FU level in my mind. This was a big one, but not one you can't lose. If we print this kind of McDonald's top here and we confirm it by trading below here, it's a lot of technical damage in the sense that the smart money, the big money, the people that we will eventually be looking for to put the bottom in this thing, I think that will be further, you know, just way further out if we lose this. It does a lot of technical damage. Now, look, there's always going to be like, well, what if we do this and then we go right back up? Like anything can happen, guys. Relax. What I'm saying is, while we're above here, we're just doing a really stupid, weird uptrend. And I just, so, you know, do we shoot up to 50, you know, a couple of months by June up to 60? I don't see it right now. Of course, it doesn't feel that way. But I've seen this play out a bunch of times. So I was just fucking around this morning. I was like, you know what? I'm going to drop a big fat fib pong. Somebody astutely pointed out in my replies that this is not a valid trend line. He's like, no shit, dude. I've just made it up. But
That's the squiggly.
It's the squiggly, bro. I'm just saying this is what it could look like for fun. Now, somebody watching this might say, yeah, like predictions are useless. I'm all for it. I think they are too. But I like to have, you know, an idea of what I think is going to come in the market. So I actually do these mostly for myself and then to illustrate my ideas. And I would actually love to trade this. If we get this, you know, the short up here is going to be so glorious. You know, if we get back here, I could take a long. Like right now, I'm actually leaning long. Like I said, Monday, picking some up for first spot exposure that I've had to Bitcoin and ETH in quite some time. And I've sold it today just on the short time frames, just because I want to buy here, maybe get in a little lower. I've basically given in to like I was saying at the start of the show, the aping that I was doing, and I'm going to set myself up to be like 80% in like kind of lower risk yield positions for the year, and then take 20% of my account, get a proper tracking system going again, because I've been off base with my tracking, and it happens, and just get back into that and really start doing some day trades, some scalps. Because what I realized is all the analysis I've done over the last year or two, I've gotten such a nice flow for it, but I don't really trade it. I was trading midterm swings in altcoins and shit, and I think that's out of season now for quite a while, possibly. And if it goes back in season, the chart will tell us, and I'll switch back. But I am looking forward to the grossness and the chop. And in that sense, I can talk about, is it going to look like this? Is it going to look like that? It doesn't matter. I'm just going to wait for setups to come in, and we're going to trade them. And there might be a hot ball of money rolling around, as it has been. But as far as swings go, the only swing trade I see here that could or could not be brewing is to the upside. And I guess to make that official, I'd like to see it confirm on a 4-hour time frame. Right now we have a low. We have a lower low on divergence and confirmed bullish divergence. And now we've popped up. So really, really we need to make a higher low here and then get up, confirm that. And then we're back into a bull trend, and then we can talk smack about the next dip and start buying it. And that could be like a multi-week, multi-month even, a little upswing. So it's still a little premature. I've been getting into the grease on the lower time frames, but that's the best we've got. And I think my advice to my family, I've got some cousins and friends and my brother who've been dabbling a little bit. And that was just to be like, dude, just risk off for a bit. If you're not actively, I didn't tell them that here. I actually told them that on January 5th. A little bit better, but if you're not actively into this and trading setups and knowing kind of what you're doing, at least having a really good idea of what you're at risk, risk exposures, it's not going to be a very fun market to trade. I think like all the times when you're trading, your downside is there for you. And only sometimes the upside is there to make it worth it. I don't know if we're going to have that. At least we certainly don't right now. There's no clear trend that you can enjoy on the long side as like a passive investor. But it might come back soon. It might come back very soon, right around here, and then you can catch a little swing. But new highs, I don't smell them this year. But again, we go back and forth. It doesn't really matter. Let's look at what is going on in the market. Do you know of any stories? I know of one. Wrapped memo somebody asked about. I think we should talk about. Have you been paying attention to this one? I saw you in the AMA today. Yeah.
I don't own any time. I own Spell. I own some Spell. I don't own any time. I saw that there was what appeared to be a pretty big liquidation event, and my feed was blowing up and everyone was jumping down Danielle Sesta's back, which I think is kind of bullshit. Listen, you're kind of close to the sun there, so why don't you give us a little?
It's been a really tough run, to say the least, for anyone in the time Wonderland community. We had the first set of liquidations back here. And that's for anyone who's not sure, if you go on Abracadabra, you can actually take your wrap memo and you can stick it in a cauldron and you can borrow against it. And if it goes too far down in price, they liquidate the wrap memo you put in there and they take back the money you owed that you borrowed against it, blah, blah, blah. So there's some leverage baked into this system. And it, like any asset, there's stress tests on that system, and it got tested here really well, really hard, I should say. And, a lot of people bought here thinking like, well, we can risk against those lows. Well, the treasury backing is somewhere in the 40Ks. And there was discussions from the team saying, we're going to buy back. We're going to have an automated bot that has limit orders and it buys it back. Well, that bot was filled with only so much MIM to buy back. And that MIM as if by some magical mystery or coincidence, it ran out of MIM in that bot while Danny and Sifu were sleeping, the guys who were in charge of replenishing it. And so there is this suspicion that it was an attack, that it was directly timed at such a time that whoever was going to dump this price did it at a time when they could target specifically Danny's liquidation level, because he talked today about losing tens of millions of dollars last night through a liquidation that was his, which he feels bad about, obviously. And I believe him. He's never lied to me. He's never lied. He may say things that turn out not happening, but it's like markets are markets. And so I don't think he's sitting there like nefariously ever misleading people. So I don't get that impression from him. Anyways, it was him that got liquidated, and then people, because of his liquidation, was so intense, something like $13 million or something, ended up, liquidating more people, which he now says he's looking into ways to pay them back personally, not out of the treasury. So there's a lot of drama, a lot of heat. And now there's a proposal about merging with Abracadabra Spell. Now, I haven't fully digested it. I don't know that I love it. I think that there is a lot of nuance there. I think there's a lot more details that I would need to see to make a decision for my own vote. But fun fact, he did say on the AMA today that he kind of wants like a quadratic voting. So like big whales don't get more say. Every frog gets one vote. And I think that's pretty cool. So we're going to see how that works out. My impression of it right now was that you could then convert your wrap memo into Spell. If you didn't want to, you could redeem your wrap memo at the treasury directly for the price, which is somewhere in the low 40s. And so the question today is like, at 29K, if I can then go and buy that and redeem it for somewhere in the 40s, isn't this a great trade? Isn't that free money? And I think that what the market is showing us right now is a lack of trust in this protocol right now. And it's trading at a discount because of that. I mean, you literally have a founder saying like, we're going to buy it up to this price using real funds that we have in the treasury wallet. You can see them. We're going to spend those until it's there. You can get out there. And people, the gap between that price and the current price, that's the distrust baked into the market, right? If there was, if there's a lack of trust, you get discounts, pessimism. If there's like an abundance of trust and faith saying, this guy's not only are they going to buy it back, but they're going to run that treasury up to 17 billion in 3 years. Well, it'd be trading at a premium to the treasury. So, we're seeing it play out on the chart exactly how this is like the trust meter. And it's low right now, as it should be given some of the, the recent events. And it is unfortunate because I don't think there was any nefarious intent, of course. But so I still hold some wrap memo. I actually picked some up here and didn't sell it. It's nothing massive, but it's, it doesn't feel great. But we're going to see. I think I'll have an option to exercise the exit at treasury backing. I also think I'll have the option to swap it over to the Spell. It's also possible that it just gets rejected and they stick around here and they come up with something new. There's so many moving parts and there's so much, I think, lack of understanding and perhaps even just what people are considering unpredictable behavior in the sort of pivoting from narrative to narrative or plan to plan. That I think for me, it's just like a let's wait and see, let the dust settle. I'm certainly not rushing to sell below treasury for my portion of it, but
why
yeah.
Would anybody be selling below treasury? I get the trust thing, but
yeah, I think it's just the discount. It's like you see emotions and feelings get baked into price. And right now there's an emotion and a feeling of distrust and resentment perhaps, and it's getting displayed on the chart. And so I was actually just talking to my little cousin about this. He's a shooter. He's a young up and coming trader. And he just calls me. He's like, I don't get it. He's like, isn't this free money? Why am I not, I was like, well, dude, sounds like you've got a great idea for a setup. Take it. Just don't risk the house because there's a lot of moving parts. Danny himself got liquidated here. And I think that was a wake up call that even if you have your hand on the button, even if you have the keys in your pocket, the market does unpredictable things. Bots don't function the way you always plan. Things don't always go the way that you plan them. And that, I feel for him. That really sucks. But it's a wake up call that, just because someone says something does not mean it's going to happen. The market is a vicious beast. The market is this thing you can't control. And so the fact that he himself got hit here, I think maybe shook people a little bit. They said, oh, fuck. Like he didn't even see that coming. So when he says this is going to happen, can I trust that? Can I bank on that? And so that's getting priced in here. Why would you sell below this when he just went out live and said we're buying it up and we have lots of treasury to do so? I don't know. I certainly wouldn't. Why am I not rushing to buy? I think it's just my flavor for risk right now is like muted a little bit. I'm really content. And frankly, I'm kind of excited to just get back into like directional trading on Bitcoin and ETH. And if we get a fib pong choppy year, even better. That's my kind of trading. So I'm just done with big swings for a little bit. I've had a few lately and I don't want any more. So if you asked me, where do I think this thing will be in a year? I would say I feel like I'll be better off with what I'm holding now 6 months to a year from now than if I just cut and ran here because I think it's going to zero. I still have a lot of faith in them. I'm excited to see the sort of megazorb that he's building between sushi and all that.
Yeah, I respect him for the shipping he does.
Yeah.
Right? Those guys ship. I don't know about the model. I don't know about the Olympus model. I don't know about the 3-3. I don't know if it is sustainable. I can't tell you any of that. It's all very kind of esoteric to me. But I think the guy ships.
Dude, they ship. And the other thing is like, sometimes you get these kind of like devs that are just living a very, comfy, cozy, whatever, 100K income life. And then they hit it big, they make a bunch of million, and then they walk away. Like Danny's good. He does not come in here like, oh, I need to make $1 million this year. Like he's okay funds wise. And he's in it for the passion. He's in it for the people. He's in it for, notoriety, whatever you want to call it. I don't think he's not a fly-by-night dev. And so I'm excited to roll with Frog Nation and see what they're going to build. I think I can see his vision slowly coming together between like sushi and PLPs with Popsicle. That's fun to say. Wonderland DAO, obviously now they have this like mammoth treasury that they can, fold into this ecosystem. And I think that's part of the Abra kind of thing. Again, I'm not entirely sure that I got enough details on that to decide if I like that or not, where I would vote on it. But and then you've got Abracadabra kind of playing central bank with this digital currency they've created called MIM. It's a beautiful mix. And so if you have leveraged LPs and all these things, and then you have sushi to run it all on and, LP management through Popsicle, like it's a really cool fucking thing they've built. So yeah, I want to be here for that. I've got an amount in here that I am comfortable losing. I would really hate losing it, but I won't die. I won't be dead. I won't be, selling my house or anything. So yeah, I'm just going to roll with it. I feel bad. And in fact, if I wasn't, I think if the whole market hadn't just kind of beat a lot of people up, this would be such an easy buy for me. Right here, like literally just heard the guy who I trust say, we're going to buy it up to 40 something. And actually they did a few times today. You can see here, this is the treasury, putting it back to the thing. And there's obviously just sellers. And so that's what I suspect. I suspect that this was an attack, whatever you want to call it, free market. So do what you want. But I suspect this was strategic. There was some very coordinated seeming FUD that came out on Twitter and has since been deleted in the account. And they loaded up post liquidation and maybe they're just selling right back to the treasury. That's a really fat arbitrage.
Yeah.
Smart people spot that kind of shit and they decide this is how I'm going to manipulate it. If you're a purist, you just say power to them. If it's able to be done, someone will do it and why not? But it feels gross.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely lose sight. Like, remember one of the big fears about Bitcoin back in the day was that if any nation state with real money wanted to attack it, it didn't cost astronomical amounts to like 51% attack the Bitcoin network for a while, right? We were talking about amounts that, like, honestly, in retrospect, China or someone could have done some damage and then kind of knocked it out back then because it was cheap to do so. Now it's much more expensive to do that. And Bitcoin, we look at the hash rate chart, Bitcoin hash rate's making new highs right now. Like, that's one thing we don't hear much about because it's the bear market and things 50% off its highs, but like hash rate is making new highs right now, and that's after all the shit that went down with China this year. So these sorts of Wonderland and these kind of the newer experiments, they're susceptible to attacks. I mean, who knows? That some people who might not like it, who are deep pocketed and come up with a plan to attack it where they think they can make money at the very least and cause some you know, kind of like terror in the market. I think it happens more than we probably would like to believe it does. But you know, I mean, that's the one thing that makes me more and more comfortable about Bitcoin, but it took 12, 13 years to do. Like, the network is extremely powerful at this point. Costs a lot to try to.
It's funny. Michael Saylor was just talking about that on Up Only TV. I only tuned in for 10 minutes just before we went live, and just to see where they were at. And he was going over the idea of that, you know, like getting through that first high risk area with hard forks and all this crazy shit. And now he's like, you know, you pay the premium, but you have much lower risk. It's survived.
Yeah.
And I think he was mostly saying that in sort of not an attack or just commentary on Ethereum. You know, the idea that if they go pivot to POS, like their mining network just falls into shit. But anyways, on the note of hash rate, you reminded me of something. Actually, it was our old producer, old Pooty, who pulled this up for me this morning. Did China just unban Bitcoin mining?
It's
Didn't seem to make the news today. It was weird.
It's not really been banned. I mean, they banned it, but then it was still going on there. There was still, we saw signs that there was mining going on there still. It was much, much smaller. They're corrupt, dude. I mean, everyone's fucking corrupt. All these politicians, it's all garbage. But bottom line, there was mining going on there. This is interesting. You know, I never believed it was truly banned because I heard kind of anecdotal stories from my mining buddy that there was still mining going on there. You know, Russia. How about just a few headlines out of Russia these past few days? For a second, and Bitcoin rallied this day, so you knew it was bullshit. Like, it was like that Russia was going to fully ban all crypto and all that mining and all that shit. And then
they were teasing that this week. Sorry.
Then the next day was, you know, headlines from Putin saying,
"Yeah, we have an edge."
Yeah.
I mean, this is the kind of like vulnerable market state we're in, right? Where you can just post articles or comments or snippets selectively and move, you know, the hourly candles. It goes back to what I was saying earlier, which is that when there is no clear, strong trend, it is very tricky trading. And we saw that today, just going into the FOMC, just kind of melting up slowly. And then it was just like, oh, Jay Powell's like, well, we're breaking out. Nope. I mean, anyone who was on the edge here, just kind of worried like, oh God, it's getting away from me. And then saw that breakout without any particular plan. I mean, it looks like nothing, but this is like 15 minutes of green. A lot of people pull that kind of trigger and then they just get wrecked. So one article, China's unbanning Bitcoin, Putin's banning Bitcoin, but they have an edge in Bitcoin. Like, I don't know. Stay away. Stay safe.
It's
headline trading is very
data based in the chat. It's Russia is psyops 100%. I mean, it's
Putin is psyop.
But you know what?
A music video.
Any of these big energy producers should be looking at it. They're idiots if they're not. They're literally not doing the rational thing if they're not. They are irrational. They're imbeciles.
Short-sighted.
China shit the bed. They fucked up their whole Bitcoin play. I mean,
now it looks like it's like, yeah, okay, you can do it, but we're just charging more, right? They did just, fix their infrastructure. Shane in the chat says China ran out of coal last year, probably caught up now. I don't know if he's trolling, but I know Shane's done some mining in his time, so maybe we get him on here dropping some commentary. But yeah. I don't know. This is weird to me because when I first heard, China unbanned Bitcoin, I was kind of like, well, fuck, like that's got to be the news. And we were pushing up, whatever this was, 8:45 in the morning. Yeah. So, we were pushing up as it happened. I was like, shit, is this like, is this the narrative that's going to carry us on this little upswing? And then we get exhausted again and come down, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So it's literally like this tweet, and it's got very little engagement. So I don't know. I think I am following these guys. Yeah. But they kind of do the Chinese news breaking stuff.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, crude oil kind of sniffing $90 a barrel. Corn.
What does
beans,
that mean? I don't oil. What does that mean?
I mean, it traded down to $16 earlier in the year. Like, it's fucking 5x. Like,
what's the good ticker for oil? There's a lot of them.
The future for the CME is CL1 exclamation point would be like the front month continuing future.
Okay. Yeah, sniffing.
Yeah. I mean, not looking.
Look at, I charted this way back when. Let's see how it's doing. Oh, trend line breakout. Oh, look at that retest.
You look at this. You look at wheat, high soybeans, very high corn, high prices of hard stuff are high. I don't know. At some point, Bitcoin here is going to break this correlation with tech stocks.
Kind of started this week. Actually, I saw a really funny thing I want to share. I love this. I don't know where this face came from. It's kind of like getting a little more juice now, but this, like, somebody looking at the 1 second chart and they're just a little green and red. It's like, but it did start. I even saw, SBF kind of commenting on Twitter that there was a decoupling kind of starting to take place. And I, for the first time ever, had a NASDAQ chart up and like a Bitcoin 5 minute. And I was kind of watching for it because that's the thing we're looking at right now. But, look left, Bitcoin dominance rising off of the sort of last stand support. I mean, there were lows below, but I think if we lose this level, it truly is going to be lights out for dominance. So I was watching this closely, and it's moving up off of that low. So yeah. I think in a bear market, just like flight to safety in regular markets, there's risk on and risk off within crypto, and Bitcoin is risk off. Stables are risk off the most, but Bitcoin is risk off versus alts. As you can see on the big down days, it's like Bitcoin's down 6%, alts are down 25%. Yeah. So I wouldn't be shocked to see a bit of a flight to safety. And that's kind of where I came up with this idea that, alts just shit the bed for a while, hot ball of money, some of them win. But eventually it starts again with Bitcoin. Yeah. As the universe should be.
I'll tell you what, I feel like, you can find an edge in picking some alts that can weather the storm. And I don't think that all alts have to fucking die.
I know which one you're thinking about.
I think we're going to see some good narratives out there. I think there's going to be some networks that are going to grow. All alts don't have to die here. I think.
No, but if you're bullish on something, what do you want? You want more.
Well, you want more. You want.
And so down. Assets. Yeah. Right? No, but yeah, I just think the idea that's like, I've heard that before where it's like, well, this is so promising, so good. It doesn't have to die. It's like, well, if we're in a market where I think I can get things cheaper, I'm not going to step in on them. And I think I'm saying that as like a whale, if I'm thinking like a whale and they're just like, well, we can convince everyone to sell these to us cheaper because it's a bear market and it's the 4-year cycle. Like I think the PSYOPs, whatever you want to call it, why step in on that on the buy side? There's no FOMO. There's no, you step in, you're just showing your hand. Now you're not going to get as much. Is anyone in a rush, right? Like if I'm a tectonic plate type investor and I'm seeing this as like a 10-year emerging market investment, because after all, it is these types of multi-billionaire players that are going to be putting bottoms in this market. And they want as much as they can get, as cheap as they can get it, and their fucking time frame is high. So I'm pessimistic for altcoins midterm. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say like, ooh, you know, like this shit's already down in the reload zone. I'm thinking about FTT right now. You know, so am I selling my FTT to try to buy back cheaper? No, that trade is long gone. That trade was up here. That trade was here. Like, yeah, I'm just saying more like, I'm certainly not sitting here like, I think next week we might see a new bull market. Like, it's just, this is kind of my long-term view at, you know, best case. This is like a year-end rally for something like AVAX, you know, losing this level, which is now resistance, coming into this big support. Of course, there's going to be a nice bounce there. Let's chop a bit, maybe squeeze up, retest that level. And then what, we're going to go to new highs now? Fuck no. This thing is gravity, physics. We got to clean up. This is one way it might look. I don't know. But this kind of thing. And if I'm wrong, cool. We can go higher and I can trade a bull. But this is going to save me. Being a bit of a pessimist, it feels like right now. But that's the kind of shit that's going to save me from losing a lot of money through, you know, a downtrend. Yeah. And we've seen it before, right? The last time AVAX went nuts, and I'm going to just pick on AVAX today. The last time it went nuts, it took from February to August. So what is that, like 8 months or something, to really reset the chart, to clean it up, to start breaking out again. And then it, you know, went on a big crazy rally, way crazier than the last one. And, you know, it's going to take some time. And it's going to take time to clean up. And every time it loses a level, it's just another round of pukers until we're out of pukers. And you'll see that on the chart once the volume starts to die down on the sells. This one had actually picked up. So I put something out on Twitter to that extent today. Maybe we should talk about this. The anger phase. You can see it on Twitter, right? The witch hunts are starting. Messi actually said that there was people blaming him for their losses, like such an absurd thing because, you know, he just shares such good ideas and actually did a lot of kind of ranting about, you know, sell your shit in December and get ready to pay your taxes. And so, but it's the anger phase. There's going to be witch hunts. And I just pointed out that I think it's a great time to avoid social media, you know, minimize it because it's not healthy. Build up healthy habits, you know, working, reading, hobbies, developing an investment thesis, preparing to invest in the depression, not investing randomly right now. That's what I don't think anyways. And then, yeah, buy from pessimists, sell to optimists. So those are all my thoughts. It's just, it doesn't make for great content. I'll admit, guys, it doesn't. That's why after 3 years of sharing the shit I share, I have whatever, 11,000 followers. I'm not going to get 2 million sitting here saying, be patient and work hard. Yeah. You know, people want to hear about how they can get rich tomorrow. Well, good luck.
No, you're right. I think we get excited during bull markets, but we're definitely, I don't think we're not guys who are just fucking cheerleading all day long.
No, and here's the other thing. You're a bull, period. But you have a long horizon. Yeah. And you play from a position of strength. And I think that needs to be clear to people. I don't think anyone doesn't know that. But, you know, so when you say you're looking at this chart like it's a snack, I'm like, cool. Because in 5 years, I'm pretty fucking certain that's going to look like an outstanding entry. Yeah.
No, I agree. But I think I'm a guy who thinks in 2030, Bitcoin is going to be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, like, yeah. But that's 8 years away. You know, but...
You say 2030, everyone just turned off the channel. We just lost 15 viewers.
Of course.
It's like, what the fuck? I'll come back in 8 years and see how you guys are doing.
I know, but what are we... It's not... You're not just an instant gratification thing. I mean, this is like this is a changing of the guard. If you're trying to get coins in your coffers and put it in cold storage and do that, like, you're not going to give a shit from 35,000 to 42,000 what your average buy was or whatever. I mean, it makes a difference. I get it. It's 20% and all this stuff. But the bottom line is, like, yeah, I think Bitcoin, I think the big networks are going to be trading at values that are so astronomically higher in years that, like, you know, just don't get washed out of the game. Just
survive and you will thrive. That's my view. Can we just take a moment and just like toot Gann's horn for a sec? Because I drew this up, actually not back here. I drew it sometime during 2020. But for those of you who don't know, we're not going to do a Gann lesson right now, but I'm going to show you something real quick because this is sick. This is just sick. You draw this thing by measuring 2 points. And that is from the low of a move, which I chose the absolute low of the bear market, and then I drew it to the end of the first impulse. And then it just spews out all this shit, okay? So from here to here, and it spewed out the rest. And we can actually see this thing follow the path. And these lines on the chart, for better or worse, are basically just little supports and resistances. You can think of them as points of interest on the chart where there should be reactions in price. And as you come out of this arc, kind of slows down, navigates the arc, takes off all the way, straight shot, pings this horizontal resistance, gets through it again, straight shot, pings this horizontal, drops down, tag, double tag on this trend line. Like, this is just insane. And then comes up here, and that whole bull top in last spring was really just, you know, riding up this trend line. And then where did it fail to? The arc. Bounce up to the arc, back down to the arc. Like, this thing's fucking crazy. So anyways, I pulled this up. It's an old thing. I wasn't following it the whole way through, but now I'm looking at it like, and you know, the whole bull market peaked at the end and top of the square. And now I noticed, I'm bringing it up because like we just closed this weekly cute right inside of this arc as if it knew to the dollar that it had to close in there. And now we're just putting it into doji. So I, you know, based on this too, I just think we're going to spring back up for a little bit, low 40s. Hey, who knows? It's hard to trade off this thing, but tell me that's not fascinating. For a guy in like 1918 or whatever it was with a friggin' protractor and a piece of paper and a pencil and the star charts to just come up with a thing that would spit out an extrapolation like this, and price is just vibrating off of it. Yeah. According, you know, like who looks at this shit? You're like, oh, it's resistance because everyone's looking at the Gann. Nobody's looking at the Gann square. Show me one Gann square on Twitter. This shit is witchcraft.
How do you know, like, how do you know that this is drawn properly? Like, where do you connect your dots here to get this particular? I mean, you know, part of me looks like that meme, you know, when it's the guy in the room with all the shit on the wall.
Yeah. Well, look, let's look at it. Let's do one. Here's the tricky thing, and so I don't know, you put me on the spot now. I don't know if I can do it live, but basically you have to lock your scale, lock price to bar ratio. So I don't know what I drew the last one, which exact ratio I chose, but basically it's like this. See, and this one doesn't reach as far. So, but that is the way you do it. You do it from here to here. Now I drew that other one like over a year ago. So I don't know which price to bar ratio I used. I'd have to play around a bit to recreate it. And I also,
protractor?
Yeah, now that you're asking me, I'm like, damn it. Because I don't actually.
I mean, look at it.
If I drew it on the weekly, the 2 week, I don't know. There's a few
retrofitted almost.
That's the thing, but that's the so here's the crazy. Look what this is called, Hxro template. So when I made up our Hxro colors for you when I first started working for you guys back in like spring 2020, and I made this Hxro template, and this was just on it. So when I pulled this up the other day to get like a fresh set of charts to make a new thing, this was here. I was like, oh, what the fuck? And then I looked at it, I was like, what the fuck? So I drew this probably back in spring 2020, right around here. I mean, and it's just been playing. Yeah, it's crazy. But you can do this the downside. You can do downtrend Ganns. Like, I think actually we have one in our ideas section. Like, so look, people are listening like, well, talk about today's price action. Like, dude, this is what I do when the market's shit. I learn stuff. I go and play with things. I mess around. You know, you can see here, now my prediction coming from this was terribly wrong, but look at the Gann square on the way down from the last, this was like the June 19 bear. You know, it came up, played here, then rode up the arc, then dropped again, then rode up the arc. Like, the Gann stuff is freaky cool, man. So, I don't know. Does it help me make money? I don't trade directly off of it, but as a roadmap, this thing's cool.
I was showing my kids the other day one of these like little videos about Fibonacci in nature, right?
Oh yeah, some flowers and the
and also like some girl drawing in her notebook, and then they go to all this shit, and it's absolutely mind-boggling. The like Fibonacci everywhere. And you really you opened my eyes to like the fib retracement tool, which, I mean, I still think that's, one of your best. It's crazy to look at how often this thing just plays out.
It's really, and if nothing else, and I always hear this voice in my head of people on like trolls and shit on Twitter that just don't know TA and they don't use it. So it's like, fair enough. But like, TA doesn't work. It's a meme. And I'm like, look, sometimes the RLZ smacks. Other times it doesn't. But at least it gives you a repeatable set of criteria that you can act from. Look at GMX. Just went on a sick rally. Like right into the reload zone off the sweet spot. Like if I'm buying this level, I'm going to get beat up sometimes and it's going to go down, and sometimes it breaks right through. Then I risk off. I cut it at this low, or I find some way to not get hit too hard, right? Because you really want to have, we're going to say this right now, you want to have 4 types of trades. There's only 4 types of trades you should ever have, right? Big wins, small losses, and break evens. If you can create a lifestyle as a trader that you only have these 4 types of trades, then TA will work for you, or can work for you, right? That's risk management. Like let your winners run, take some small winners, cut your fucking losers, and get out of break even all the time, because you just, it takes off, you move your stop loss to break even, it comes right back down. Okay, moving on. Well, look, I just remember this one because I remember thinking, damn, that was so cute. And everyone started talking about right here. And I was like, fuck. Well, like what a sick trade. So TA doesn't work for some people. I think the better way to put it is TA can work. And then right here again, like free falling out of the sky. Nope, just tagging the reload zone. And, some guys trade this level a lot. I like to trade the midpoint. Some guys I know just buy 786s. And then we all know Gunny loves his 886s. Likes to buy the greasy, deep, dark depression markets on good assets. In fact, he told me yesterday he was picking some stuff up. I wish he was here today to enlighten us. I think he's been doing a little bit of shopping this week. From my impression is that he was still on the more risk-off end of the spectrum, but had like started opening up the piggy bank to like take some positions. I think he mentioned sushi, kind of getting into his zone here on the high time frames. Still a little downtrendy for me. I had a setup here. So here's a good example. Here's an example of me losing money, doing what I do that works so well so much of the time, and then it didn't work this time. Through this, Danny did an AMA. Sushi was getting hyped. I said, cool the fuck off. I'm not buying here. I'm going to pick up here, pick up a little more here, pick up like 5 times as much here and another 5 times here. So like really sizing here, and then I had to cut it here. We broke through. I was like, fuck, this sucks. I'm getting out. I don't have any sushi right now. But it was a small loss. It was not a big loss, right? And if I was right, if the trade worked out, it's like whoop, boop, 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 and who knows how fucking far it's going, right? So, I don't know. Another rant there, but yeah. Fibs. Love the fibs. And I love that you're teaching them to your kids. I can't wait till my kid's old enough that I can talk to him, using more words than like,
I mean, it's more just, honestly, it's amazing to me when you see it in nature, and then when you see there's this cute little video some girl made, and it's just cool. I mean, we do a lot of numbers and math here. The kids love it, so that's always a go-to for me, because the first time they're just kind of like, what the fuck is like, what, like numbers, and then like. Then it's like crazy. But, let's take a couple recs for charts. I mean, guys, going through charts during times like this, it's not going to give you the warm and fuzzy feeling.
Give me 10 reasons why your coin is shit and you should stay away. But look, Gunny just popped in the chat.
It's better if you're looking to go shopping, it's better to do it when you're at the levels that are big discounts.
That's it. Another funny meme that we should talk about today is right here. I'm going to pull it up. Gunny actually did just pop in the chat. He confirmed he's been a little peckish on Oh, that's not how you get that. Let's do it. So I've seen this meme before. I think it was Michael from Netherlands that put it out. You know, crypto, Beamish talks about this all the time over at TRI. He's like, it's the one place where you can get a fire sale, you know, Black Friday, and nobody shows up to buy.
Yeah.
And so if you can get past the emotional sort of state that is very counterproductive to being a good trader, buying from pessimists when all you want to be is pessimistic, selling to optimists when all you want to be is optimistic. The reason that trading is such an incredibly stressful job, aside from the fact that a lot of people, the majority of people that do it just lose money in the end, is that you have to be successful, you have to actively counter trade your most deepest, innate, intuitive, evolutionarily programmed states of mind, states of being, right? Like when you're just beat down and depressed and everyone's just fucking crying and it looks like the sky's falling because rates are going to rise and the macro's terrible and everything's going to crash, you got to pull out your fucking checkbook and be like, that sounds like a discount. I'll buy from this guy because he's clearly lost the plot. And then when it's at 69K and we're sitting in Lisbon having a beautiful dinner and all talking about, you know, like what fucking car we're going to buy, you know, you have to like call it in and be like, yo, sell everything. It's a bubble. Like you have to go against, you know, all your natural instincts. I'll be honest with you, on Monday, I really felt uncomfortable taking this long. I didn't size it up. And of course, right after I thought, man, I was like flip-flopping a bit. It sucked. It was emotionally and physically discomforting. But it was a great fucking trade. It's the best kind. Getting right against that low, take some size. But it was not fun or comfortable. And of course, you know, looking back, like, oh, could have played this better. Could have. So I don't know where I started with that rant. Oh yeah, right here. Crypto at all-time high prices. Everyone's like, yeah, buy. And now it's like, nobody fucking wants it. So is this all to say like everyone watching should just go rip in and buy some? No. I don't even think we're out of the woods yet. We're still trending down, but it's definitely like my buddy texted me the other day. He's my old roommate. He's like, I'm thinking I'm ready to get in, get a little Bitcoin. And I was just like, whoa, buddy, like we're into a new cycle now. Maybe just cool your jets. But like, absolutely, you got the right idea waiting for this kind of moment. Just, you know, be aware that it could be a long, drawn out process, because I don't know about you, but I see a lot of fucking energy when these bounces come in. There's still a lot of hope out there. My opinion is that kind of has to get crushed before we move.
We're in such a bubble here, though. In terms of a bubble like crypto Twitter, it is a small little place. I don't know.
Now, well, and Gunny wants to put out there this caveat emptor, you know, like, I don't know if that's the word, but 88.6, you know, BCH. I laughed at him last night. I was like, dude, let me know if you find any other gems other than BCH. I can't hold it. If it drops, I have no conviction. So, hey, power to him. He's got a system. He likes the 88.6. It's right on it. So he's picked some up. But caveat to that being that, you know, he's like, I have a long-term view, though. Frankly, and I've told you guys, you know, he's told us this on the show, he's too fucking busy to look at markets all day. You know, so when shit gets crazy and there's a mania in the market, he's like, oh yeah, I better go sell some shit. And then when shit gets really Wojak and depressed, he's like, oh yeah, got a little cash, I better go park some seeds. And I mean, I envy that in a way, because it is the way to do it. It's a veteran play, except most people who buy here would probably end up selling and just losing money somewhere through here.
Yeah. Right.
And then like, watch in like a year and a half, Gunny's going to pop in and be like, hey, do you see BCH today? Just cracked 1,000. I'm like, you son of a bitch. Still holding. So we'll see, man. I hope that goes well for you. I'm not buying BCH, but let's look at some charts. What do we got?
Yeah. I don't know.
CRA. Crabata.
What that should cray? What is CRA?
Yeah, it's Crabata. It's like a gaming play on AVAX that I missed out on. Well, you know, I missed out on the week one. I thought I missed out because look at it, but it did the thing, right? Gunny, you know the thing. What's it called? Could you type it in the chat? I always try to quote you on this. It's like the something thing where, you know, new thing comes out hyped, finds a low. What's that called?
That's called the pump and dump.
No, no. It's like what's it called? There's a word for it. It's the something. I don't know. But
It's the
Gartley,
70% retrace.
No, it's like new assets that just come out and they all just seem to start the same way, and then it's like, and then they find the real floor, and then the tech hype cycle. Yeah, so it's this like this idea that's like, oh, it's a new thing. Everyone hype, hype, hype. Early buyers or seed investors, they all take their profits. The guys that raced in up here get wrecked. Now they get chopped up, and eventually you build a base, break out, and go for it. Gartner cycle. There it is. Gartner cycle. That's the word. I was going to say Gartley like a harmonic. But anyways, so that's the Gartner cycle, which I should probably just Google and figure out what exactly it is. But anyways, clear Gartner cycle on this. And it looks like it's trying to find a floor. I would keep an eye on this trend line. Probably don't want to see that break. Otherwise, you're going to go in likely into negative price discovery. And then we'll find the real floor. Otherwise, you know, get a little RLZ within an RLZ right here. And, you know, in a better market state, there's a nice little setup here. A little breakout on volume off the lows. So I think, you know, look at the fundamentals. Is the user month over month growing astronomically? Is there lockups on the tokens based on user growth? Like there's some questions I'd have here. But yeah, it's not a bad place to be getting greedy. It's just like have your invalidation, right? Because anyone who just blindly says, well, I'm going to just hold for 3 years, well, they might be in for like a fat fucking drawdown if we get into something like whatever else that could be. So
yeah, what's being in crypto without a
risky
fat fucking drawdown?
If you don't roll on a fat drawdown, I mean, the best lessons are learned in the most painful experiences. I've done it. I'll never forget. I was a community member. We all started off in one community or another. Mine was Stratus, which is still trading. This was me buying my first crypto back here. Bubble. Talk about bubble.
Dude, those things made, yeah, the pumps of old made this stuff look kind of.
Yeah. I joined crypto right here. And within a week, I discovered Stratus, and it was fucking rocketing. I didn't look at charts, right? I only looked at CoinMarketCap. So I just was like, ooh, number up, buy some. Ooh, number up, buy some. Ooh, number up. Okay, FOMO, and now I'm going to get fully invested. And thankfully, I was very paper-handed, and I kind of like puked my position somewhere through this. Like I couldn't tell you where, but I lost money on it, but I didn't. What was it, $8? I think actually I loaded up at $8. It went to like 14. This isn't even real. It was up at 14 at one point. Anyways, I lost money on it. Thank God I didn't bag hold too hard, because then at the end of the year, it went to like 22, and then it just, look at this. Oh. It dropped down to fucking 13 cents. So anyways, yeah, I'm not a bag holder. But I did hold some, yeah. I was a community member. Ironically, I met my co-founders in the Stratus Slack channels. So, you know, you take the good with the bad. So anyways, yeah. Sorry, total fucking tangent.
No, you know what? Someone's getting a little ornery in the chat just about like, you think BCH and LTC are gonna pump. I kind of the Dino coins don't really excite me anymore.
No,
I just don't look at them anymore.
Look at LTC versus Bitcoin. Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. I don't fuck with dinos.
Because what do they have going on? Like it's pure widget there, Like I'm interested in the stuff that actually is like
good
doing things, right? They're building stuff that's being used that is productive. That there's a reason to hold it. But I do get it. I get when charts look so fucking nasty. And listen, it's been trading for however many years. There's history. People trade it like a widget, but the stuff that gets me excited are more of like the real stuff, and people would
well, that's like the altcoins though. That's why I like altcoins so much.
At me and say, well, Bitcoin Cash is real, like fucking Bear would be giving me the finger and but
screaming into his camera.
Yeah. I mean,
Litecoin, if you can't see how terrible this chart looks right now, like I can't help you. It's just it's atrocious. Now look, I wasn't looking at it back here, but this was a different story. This looked pretty good. You had a lows and bottom consolidation, and then you had rising volume, and then you had a breakout, and look at that. Oh, we caught a big rally. This looks like trash.
Yeah,
for now.
Right.
What?
If I'm going to catch a knife like that, I want it to be in something that at least is like,
innovative.
Doing something.
Yeah, Litecoin was really cool when it was like silver to the Bitcoin. You could buy much more of them. It was the unit bias, and they were like test piloting Lightning Network. But Lightning Network is live now for Bitcoin. So I've never understood Litecoin. I missed it here. I missed it here because I'm just stubborn and I just don't get it and I don't care. But if you're going to find something, like this is probably the best thing I could share with you guys today. Beamish over at TRI beats this fucking into your head on day one. Is just, if you want to be an investor, if you want to play alongside of a market, you just have to look for one thing, and that is weekly W's. And when they break out, you have yourself a move. And at least then you're getting in from a position of strength. And even after they break out, oftentimes it's like, okay, now let's look for that pullback. And then you get that, that little bink. And then it's like, what? And you can see it at the bottom of most massive rallies. And then the difference is like winners and losers. The difference is, well, who can wait for that? Who can be solvent when this actually happens? Because all we have right now is just this big fat M top. And it just actually confirmed on last week's candle again. So it's months away from investable, if you want to think of it that way. And that's actually exciting to me, just knowing that. And so I would never buy this. So I don't have to worry about losing money on a chart like this because I'm just never, ever, ever going to long one. And then, I need to get better at waiting for this, because this could be 7 months away. And when it comes, I better have as much fucking capital ready as possible and not waste 25, 30% of my bag from now until then trying to long Bitcoin off of, here where I'm planning to long it tonight or whatever. So yeah, I'm not perfect, but conceptually it's a W or it's an M. And if you can wait on a high time frame for those W's to come into the market, I'll give you a good example. I'm so proud of these guys. Syscoin. Remember Syscoin?
Yeah.
It was a fucking it was a good project then, I guess, but it was a meme to me, just how many staunch, oh, now I can just buy more. Now I can just buy more. Now I can, the whole way through the bear market, there was just this really strong.
The hack? Remember when it traded above 1 million Satoshi? It traded, that there was an issue on Binance with that. Was it
Sys?
I'm pretty sure.
I think there was one that got super pumped so that the hackers could dump into it and then withdraw. But I don't think. I thought it was NAV, but
no. It was Sys.
Might have been Sys, but either way, I wasn't in TRI until right around here. But you can bet that the lesson then was don't touch it. Wait for those weekly. This is Litecoin right here. Let's just think about that. This is kind of where Litecoin is. In fact, a lot of the market, unfortunately, is right here. And that just is what it is. It's it's happy, it's sad, it's good, it's bad. Who the fuck cares? It is what it is. And so it's a matter of just waiting until, and it doesn't have to take this long. It could turn up right here. Who knows? But those people who did get long on Syscoin, I was very much in disbelief through this. I still remember, Beamish just putting out charts being we're picking up some more in the reload zone on Sys after that sick breakout. And they've been selling cars all the way up here. And another one here, just picked up a little more Sys in the reload zone. Look at this fucking thing. That thing 100x off the lows or something. So I just remember this one because when it comes to weekly W's, this thing took friggin' forever. But by the time it came, ask me if how's the return on that? And how much money did you save by not just randomly, because trust me guys, through the bear, if we get some kind of bear, any downtrend, just like in an uptrend on the dips, everyone freaks out and sells in a bull market. People are going to get bullish and frothy and try to buy every single bounce on the way down wherever we go. And we've been seeing it on Bitcoin now for 3 months, right? Here it's we're going higher, even just the other day. So, going back to the start, if there's one thing you take away from today and you just don't want to fucking worry about it until then, just wait for weekly W's. They will come in. And when they do, the opportunity will be ripe.
Yep.
But we'll be here from now until then, repeating that every week. No, seriously though, guys, if you enjoy the content we're putting out today, whether or not it's what you wanted to hear, it's what I'm thinking. Hit us with a like. Let us know. Make us feel good. Serve us the dopamine that the market has so thoughtlessly taken away. And let's get to a couple more things before we pivot to dinner. Thor, did somebody say Thor? What is Thor? Thor chain? Ooh. Same kind of thing. Now here's the thing though, like it doesn't mean straight down, right? People shoot the messenger because maybe for the next few weeks, like I think on Bitcoin, we might just see that. But there's just no W at lower highs, right? So I'm not in a mood to sell anything right now that I haven't already sold, because I also see this in a lot of the market where I just think, find me a lower high and then I can get the greasy. Where is it? I think here is my best guess. Nope. Dunno. No. Is it here? Yeah. So let's forget about these for a bit. If I wanted to be a shorter, I would wait for something like this. The reverse of the PCZ, the dump chaser zone. Yep, she goes both ways. And
I like that. You just came up with that one, right?
Yeah, like because it's been a bull market since I came up with the PCZ, so now it's like, okay.
But the dump chaser zone, this is I haven't heard from you. Is this like within how many days have you?
I think I toyed with it in the summer. I have definitely like coined it, but I haven't used it much. But then I put it on the chart for today because. We're in this really interesting place on Bitcoin where we came down this trend line. We tagged it last week. I was like, oh, interesting. I'd kind of like to get long. Woke up on Monday. Everything's in bullish divergence. We're right on the trend line, right on the 88.6. You zoom out and catch the range from here, and you're right on this fat node of like support on the VPVR. And I just thought, damn, if I'm not long here after this, when everyone on Monday, if they hadn't sold already, just decided to puke the last of their positions, FOMC coming, wow. Yeah, so I started getting bullish, and if I'm going to be a bear, if I'm going to like, oh, there's a good trade here to be short on a high time frame, I've got to at least, get up into this 382 because look at this fat node here as well that lines up with it perfectly. And the reason it's important for me to plan something like this now is because by the time we actually get up here, the news will be different, the vibes will be different. I'll probably forget I ever wanted to short. I'll probably start wanting to buy things, and I just have to be disciplined and remind myself to take a shot on the short side. And if it fails, probably taking another shot up in here. So I have two small losses to potentially make a big gain if we end up coming back down. So, yeah, I don't know. A little scattered today. Like it's so much easier to do content and get on here when there's like a fucking trend and it's like, ooh, like there's just get my chi back into these lower time frame trades. I'm excited. Give me a month. 1 month.
Something we've talked about in the past, decentralized social, DSO.
Oh yeah. Pump this week. I saw that.
Yeah, this to me is a familiar pattern. And I know right now there is some VC out there trying to sell a big amount. I heard there was some offer OTC, but I mean,
did you see the thread that Nader put out?
Mouth breathing idiot who's trying to dump it. When you see, if you pull up the Coinbase chart, this to me looks like someone who's trying to just sweep liquidity.
Coinbase, yeah, it is on.
It's one of those coins where a lot of the coins are locked up in these creator coins and other stuff, and you can see it. All the volume trades on this thing to the upside. It's all on the upside. It's someone sweeping.
So what does that mean? You think an accumulation?
Yeah, they're just trying to clean out all the supply to me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, soaking it up.
Yeah, and look at it. So it sells up. It traded up to $100 like the other night.
Yeah.
And now it's trading down to $50 on like no volume, and you can see all the volume. It's all buying.
Did you see the thread that he put out that kind of caused that?
Yeah, listen.
I tweeted it.
He's a sharp guy. I think that he's onto something. I think the chain is onto something. I read another thread about how relatively cheap it is to transact for social stuff on their chain, and I own it. I own this thing. I know it got.
I forgot about it, to be honest. All my calculations of late, and I was like, God, and I forgot about it. And actually, I gotta write that down. Yeah, probably you should tell my accountant I have some of that. I don't think it was on my year-end balance sheet, but like I totally forgot about it, and which is where you want to be for long-term investment. And my buddy texted me. He's like, dude, Big Clout rallying. So if you haven't already, you can check this thread out. It's on my Twitter. They hard forked it. Their first hard fork since Coinbase. I won't go all the way through it. It's a pretty short thread, but not something you want to read out live. But yeah, I agree. It sounds really good.
It does it, but that
dark
type
horse
of action, it's like that. There's something there. Usually, you see fireworks at some point. I'm not saying it's going to happen anytime soon. I don't know. I never, I pointed it out with Kyber Network, I think, the other day, and guess what? Like Kyber Network's actually hung in there better than pretty much anything the last couple weeks after that sweeper of spot. So
that was this.
Yeah, the thing's hanging in there. Like everything else is probably.
Oh shit! Look at it. It's going up.
Yeah, it's down by 30%, and this thing's been hanging in there. So,
interesting.
I do think that when you see big, outsized buyers of spot, it's always a time to just take note. So, this is another thing that I saw the other day. Something to take note. I think DSO at $50 here, you'll probably be able to sell it a lot higher at some point. Doesn't mean it's not going to 40 or 30. I can't tell you that because it's illiquid. I mean, clearly there's enough mouth breathing liquidity providers or people who they see someone.
What is mouth breathing? Just like,
don't you know the mouth breathers?
I've heard the term, but you've said it a few times now, and I'm like, wait, am I a mouth breather? I gotta double check. Nope.
I know.
Nasal.
It's it all look at the volume. It's all on the buy side.
No, and that's what we talk about, right? Go for the buy volume because that is the evidence of the big buyer stepping in. Now, me being Mr. Conservative, I would sit here and be like, okay, let's stop going down. So this is our higher low. That's the W, but that's a really high W. Where's the daily? Actually, maybe daily's lower. Yeah, daily's lower. So look, we've got something to work with here. If we want to be, patient, it's not going to be the weekly W. Could always wait a couple months for one of those. But if we put in a higher low here somewhere and break this midpoint, you have yourself a midterm trend reversal potential. So I like it.
But look, this is the buyer, the big buyers. They just let the idiot market makers. So as soon as the buyer, he buys up biggest volume there is, he lets the market makers just offer it down, keep offering. He's probably just nibbling. And then boom, all of a sudden there's no supply left. And now the thing's 100 bid. And then where are the sellers? You sweep the book enough times, there's just no inventory. And the one thing that DSO has on its side is,
I know what you're gonna say. Low supply,
it's
baby.
It is all circulating.
Yeah, it's already out there. There's no Solana, ICO, IDO inflation coming, which is what has been a big headline this week. Where it's all these things came out and they 1000x their seed investors, but you look at Oxy and this thing. Ooh. Oh shit! Look at Oxy on the hourly. I take it back. But yeah, this thing. You're not going to see this on DSO based on supply. I mean, you could see this based on change of hands.
Correct.
But you're not going to have a dilution event where now there's 10.5 million and soon there's going to be 100 million. I mean, there's only going to be 10.8 ever. Unless they fork it or something. I don't know. But yeah. So that's the strongest case, I think, for DSO, which you've made a number of times on the show. And I agree. And I'm not gonna lie. So this is how I get into trouble, and this is what I have to watch, because I just gave my whole thesis about like fucking cool your jets. It's gonna wait, even if we rally here, it's just a lower high. Like calm. Give me 8 months. Give me a weekly W. And I look at this chart and I'm like, I just want to buy it. And so I this is how they get you. Even me, who's got I've got a fucking plan. I'm gonna be so conservative. I'm gonna make it to the next bull market with all my chips. And then I'm looking at this at the beginning of what might be a little bit of a trend, bear trend, or 3 months in, and I'm tempted because this is a setup. This is what I look for. Yeah. But
let's be honest with ourselves here, though. Since the last time we saw the big volume buys, I mean, look at how it just tailed off.
That's it.
Let it die.
And there's nothing, there's nothing to say it couldn't just do that for another few months.
It could. But I mean, to me on this thing, we're getting to levels that like $500 million market cap. I don't know. I'll
see, the repricing is what scares me, right? Because we repriced up so heavily. Top 100 projects, all over $1 billion market cap, unheard of in 2017. Through the rally there, right? If you were 100 million market cap, you were in the top 100, and that seemed really high. And then it was like everything in the top 100 is over $1 billion. So we repriced up. Now, one of the things that happens through a bear trend, and this is why it kind of compresses or compounds on itself, is that a ton of stuff in 2017 was comparing to ETH. Well, if ETH is this and this does something like ETH, then this should be priced there. And so everything's based on this peg that is Ethereum at the time. And then Ethereum crashed. And so your comparisons, your comps, your models, it all fucking fell apart. And so you say $500 million, and I'm like, yeah, because I'm programmed to think something that's $500 million's got at least a 2x in it if it's a strong project. Because if you're legit, you've got at least $1 billion market cap over the last 8 months. Are we heading into a repricing where we have to consider that 500 million is high? Am I a bear?
I don't know.
I don't know. Too bearish?
It depends, but
something to think about.
I know that you're absolutely right, because I remember we invested in this ICO current.
Oh, yeah.
Remember we were like, Steam It has a market cap of 1.7 billion. Yeah. This thing's
cheap.
Whatever it was.
It's cheap. 25 million. Steam It,
does that even exist anymore?
It exists at 115 million. It got repriced pretty aggressively since you invested, which was late 2017. So yeah, you were making those comps up here. Yeah. And this is so really good example of what I was just saying. So I'm a little nervous, maybe scarred, all that PTSD that everyone worked through this whole bull. Now is when they should be fucking thinking about it. Like this is where you're like, so I don't know if I want to get into my bull case, but I was just thinking like, what a fucking great psyops to just start off 2022 with a massive dump, just to convince everyone that's like, oh, it's going to be a 2-year bear market. Like, look, this month of down trend to me does not confirm that at all. Just let's be clear on that. I'm making my little predictions about, we're going to chop, we're going to do this. I don't fucking know what's going to happen, but I don't think this pullback here is in any way confirmation that there's a 2-year bear market incoming. Just like I think it was,
I agree.
We're going to play it. We're going to play it level by level. We're going to play it confirmation by confirmation, trend by trend. But it is one of those times where people like myself are inclined to make broader predictions because it's January. I say, what's the year going to look like? It's like a human thing. But this thing is going to chop some people up. That's my one prediction.
Is gonna
up, down, sideways. I think it's just going to be a tough fucking year. It's a washing machine. You get your fun, then you get rinsed.
It's been chopping people.
It's been really down. But really this is chop, like in a way. It's like it hasn't moved. I mean, Bitcoin traded at this price, how many times? Like 8 times over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Or year. This was a year ago. This was like a year ago today. We haven't fucking moved. Just round tripped it twice. Yep. So it has been chopping. But let's be honest. I don't think anyone who did really well last year did really well by holding Bitcoin. It was like the worst performer for, other than some shitcoins that went to zero. So yeah,
we've
I
got
like DSO. I think DSO's a really interesting pick, dude. I'm going to keep an eye on this one.
I think it's
against
gonna be
these
way
lows,
higher.
it's worth. I think it's worth a shot. I just don't know where I'd even buy it. I don't have a Coinbase account. Maybe I should set one up.
Yeah. I guess you could go to blockchain.com.
I have an account there. That's where I did some selling. I did manage to get out. It was pretty sweet. When it launched over there, it shot up to like 190. I didn't sell that. I think I sold 150s, 160s. I'm still holding about a fifth of my original bag, free position, and maybe I should add. This is below where I bought that, so that bag is now underwater.
Yeah, I think we'll be. Hey, you know what? Maybe you should sell your bag, take the tax loss, and then buy it back.
It's a pathetic loss. It's like $3, like a couple $1,000. Nah. Apparently, you're not even allowed to do that. I heard.
We've got Kiravelli in the chat who's been here, and he's begging for.
Oh, good. He even wrote it out for me. Let me do that.
Bitcoin over M2 money supply, which, it's a.
Am I supposed to put the 7686 in it?
Let's look at Bitcoin over this money supply. You got a lot of people talking both sides of this, like, oh, you can't do that, it's meaningless, yada yada yada. But it's an interesting.
I don't
chart
know how. I'm trying to copy paste your thing. I like this. I know. We had a chart on this, like the S&P, divided by money supply. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of our first banging ideas on trading. Do you remember that one?
It blew up. Yeah, it went viral. Where was it? We're gonna pull it up now. Well,
and we had
Kiravelli,
a lot of reply guys. You can't do it.
Yeah, money supply isn't inflation. Like all the economists stepped in and shit on me. I just said, look, guys, I'm not an economist.
Yeah, you were
here. Look at that, 23,000 views on this thing, which is saying a lot for TradingView. If you take the SPX divided by M2.
Oh, that was SPX divided by M2.
This was, and this is trippy, right? Because of the 2008 crash and then the 2020 crash. And it was like, if you just look at the charts, it looks like it made all these new highs. We've been in this bull market, but you adjust for money supply, I guess inflation, but not. It was like.
Valley's saying,
like
and Xavier, you got to be on the 1 day minimum.
Okay. I'm going to go check the 1 day. And so, and then now we still struggled to make a new high. So whatever this level is, it's a freaking line in the sand if you factor in money supply. So it's the idea that this whole bull market, this global bull market has just been a big fugazi. And that if you factor in all the new money that's being used to buy this shit, they're not actually worth more at all. It's a scam. Run. Okay, we're going to go to the daily. Because I like this kind of stuff. So let's play with it here. So that's the thing you gave me. Is this what we're supposed to look at?
Yeah.
1 day minimum. This looks like the normal chart.
It's like Bitcoin.
Yeah, I don't know if I must have done it wrong. Push enter. Yeah, 27K would actually be testing the 2017 all-time high. What am I doing wrong here, guys? Help me out. Oh, maybe I go back. Ah, yes. Okay. So let's go to the weekly. So he's saying based on this back here, Bitcoin actually peaked at 26K back in the day. And so I assume your thought is that this could just be where we're headed. Is that correct? I don't know. I as a technician, I would really hate to see us print this. If we print that, forget about it. And even more so, somebody said today, imagine the head and shoulders memes if we actually did go and do your little consolidation thing and got up into here and failed. As it came down, the whole world would just be calling for a head and shoulders. But trust me, guys, it's just as bad if we lose it here or here, doesn't matter. Head and shoulders sounds cooler, but it's just a market structure shift. And we don't want to see that. If you do get that, probably playing in the mud for a lot longer than we want.
I actually use Head and Shoulders shampoo still.
There you go. Speaking of which, why is everyone telling you to get a haircut?
I just got a haircut. People don't even know how long my hair was.
I know. That's what Messi was saying last week. He's like, dude, you're looking homeless.
It was so long. I was wearing hats. It was long.
Yeah.
I
was going to say, yeah.
Definitely, I didn't go out of the house today. It was -8 degrees when we woke up, and that's Fahrenheit. So that means that for you Celsius mouth breathers, it is -22 Celsius. That was how cold it was this morning. And it was not a day that I was going to go drive downtown to the city office and brave the -8 degrees. But so you're kind of seeing a little bit of I did shower, but I wasn't really doing much with the hair.
I've been a scrub. I've been a scrub this week. Look, Coach Popovic just pointed out the S&P McDonald's pattern before it went straight up, and I saw that somewhere, and it was basically like boop, 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 bing, and somebody had posted it on Twitter. I don't know. I can't really see it on this chart, but it was this idea that there's like people were comparing Bitcoin to the S&P, 2012 maybe? I don't remember what year it was, but yeah, maybe you could point out what year it is. We'll take a quick look at that, guys, before we wrap. It is coming up on 2 hours. Go figure, on a day when there's maybe less to talk about, we end up going for it. But you know what? For me, it's social interaction. I am in a new house, so I don't know anyone in my neighborhood, and we're on fucking lockdown. So, I can go out and do whatever I want. There's just nothing to fucking do. So I just like hanging out with you, man. Fuck it. Let's just go get dinner. We'll have a TV dinner. We'll stay here, and we'll just not even talk about markets. It'll be great.
Yeah. Well, if we let's get a few more likes on this
2,000
video.
Okay.
A few more likes. It's the viewership's always down a bit when we're in a down market. People aren't really looking to go watch and hear the market talk. They're just bumming and depressed, and I get it. This market's
it sucks.
Fun.
It's fun, and it'll blow your mind, and then it's terrible, and it'll ruin your fucking day.
Yep.
And you've just got to learn to reduce the volatility in your emotions. This is like when you come at the market without a plan. That's how your days go. And that's like over periods of months. And then, if you get a little trading plan, you're still going to have some swings, but they're less intense. And then if you're like a long-term seasoned vet, and you're like Rob Levy, and you're like, oh, market up today? Didn't notice. Market down today? You probably have a different experience of it, but I see you as somebody who's so fucking grounded. You've just, even if you have a shit day, you're like, well, here we are again. Like, I've been here. I know how, I'll get out. We'll come out.
Yeah, I get numb to it, but it still stings, buddy.
I feel you.
I
sense it in you. I can tell, I can tell sometimes when you've had a day. Your trader buddies, when they've had a rough day, you don't ask. You're just like, dude got bit on the FOMC today.
It still stings. Yeah, you're more like, fuck Powell. Fuck these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, why does everyone react to these losers? So this is what Coach is saying.
This chart right here makes me giddy.
See, and so this is why you go back here. Happen. Yeah. Well, look, this is why this is all I can see. Where's my Bitcoin?
Let's leave on that chart. Like when you make the last putt of the day at golf and you're like, I'm coming back. You might have the worst day ever, but you make that like birdie on 18 or a par, and you're like, I'm playing tomorrow. Dude,
half the time I get to the back nine and I'll have a few drinks and I'm playing for that one nice shot. I'm like, just get me out today with like a decent approach or a sick putt. Like, yeah. So look, this is why I have this view, because there's no value to me being like, maybe if I short here, I can catch a few percent. It's a terrible trade. It's a terrible setup. Now, if I play something like this, and of course that other chart I have is my dump chaser zone's right around here. That's this node. That's going to be tough to get through on the first crack. Okay, so there's some trades coming up. But right here, aside from cutting my bag this morning on the FOMC just to take a little scalp, I'd like to be looking for long exposure through this. I think maybe a bigger dip into the weekend. I'd like to get like a higher low there, and I want to size up on that, because look, it could be this. Like this is so freakishly, and I think that's what you do through the bear market. You grasp onto fractals of why it's not so bad. But at least through 2018, 2019. But yeah, there's your 69K, like hideous dump. And far be it from me to say once you confirm it's lights out, because they confirmed it here on a monthly. Closed the monthly below. You know, I would have been the loser up here looking for shorts. And probably, well, whatever, not a loser, but just then I'd be stopped out, and hopefully I'd have the wherewithal to just flip long like a pro. And that was the kickoff to like the ridiculousness, which has been basically the last 10 years. So yeah, let's end on a high note, guys, because look.
So wait, let's do a little mental masturbation here.
Yeah.
If this is the Bitcoin fractal, where does that put us in 8 years or whatever?
Okay, well,
1 million?
Yeah. Let's make it really bullish. Well, let's see what the chaos says. I'm curious where that goes. Oh, look at that. Chaos. And look at it. Bing. And look at where the chaos is now entering the market. Go figure. I mean, not to say that there wasn't a little bit along the way, but that's March 2020. But yeah, I mean, that's sick. Imagine you just got long through here and you're like, okay, I'll see you in 12 years. Oh, chaos level, sell everything. So what does that look like on Bitcoin? Let's try it out. We're going to take that midpoint of our McDonald's. We're going to send it here. We're going to actually totally start that again because I want to get it on the weekly and I want to zoom out. Just for fun here. Let's see. If all things were equal, in a fucking handful of years, we could be looking at $200,000 Bitcoin. Now, how much are those dollars worth is the question. God, I'm such a bear today. I feel like that weird guy that Gaines he's always putting on now. There's like, I'm just like, wow, but how much are your dollars worth? The houses will cost 17 million and you'll be happy.
200,000 Bitcoin is FUD.
Yeah. FUD. Well, look, we've got another chaos level for guys like you in the house. It's the 877 up here at 343, which is actually closer to my original useless prediction because that's the fib extension of the whole last bull cycle, which we also happen to have up here on this handy little ideas section. Let's see right here. So this is kind of my thinking like, oh, you can't close these. Anyways, yeah, back at, I published this when we broke to new all-time highs, December 2020, and look, let's see where we are. We're only halfway. And that paints a picture of 341 for what it's worth. It's just a target. We'll see. All I know is I'll be selling if it gets there. This is painting 345. And that, my friend, is what we call confluence. So we've got a 341 fib extension and a 345 fib target. And my God, Rob, I'm not even flying to Chicago. I'm driving to Chicago and I'm taking you out for a steak dinner if we even just go from here to new all-time highs. I'm going to front run the 197 and buy you a steak. How's that?
I love it.
But I'm going to have to stay at your house. So like I'm inviting myself over too. But anyways,
I love it.
We'll talk about that later, my friend. Look, a really nice bit of levity to end. I don't think it's that ridiculous. I mean, the S&P did it. Inflation is coming, is here, is coming. Bitcoin is the hedge. Can we just nickel and dime our way up for a few months, make everyone nice and nervous, and then just break out? And it's like, oh, everyone got left behind.
Yeah.
It's possible. But first we need to print this doji. So pay attention to the weekly close. Anything in here is a nice indecision candle, which could mark the end of a move. Because make no mistake about it, guys, we have been downtrending. It's not like fucking rocket science when people like this week, they're like, well, the bear market started. It's like, bro, we've been in a downtrend for 3 months. I think it's just that the alts started really tanking here. So it started to actually feel like a bear market actually since here. But anyways, let's revisit this next week. Same time, same place. I'll be on Friday, guys. I will do my very best to bring new alpha instead of just repeating all my big scary warnings. But maybe I'm a counter indicator. Maybe all my for what it's worth, I'm very buying shit here. I'm long here. This is where I long as a trader. As an investor in altcoins, that's my sort of what's the rush kind of speech. But anyways, I'm excited, man. I'm always excited to see how it goes. As a student of the market, I'm just fascinated by how this stuff plays out. My only goal is to survive.
Yeah.
And ideally thrive. So let's get back to the studio. Sorry, guys, if I've been a little flaky on the chat today. I've been focused over here, focused on Rob. But I appreciate every single one of you all the same. And thank you guys for coming to hang with us today. FOMC meeting, a bit of a letdown as they often are. But, you know, hopefully we shared some stuff here today that makes you feel like you spent time well spent. Yeah. And, yeah, Friday, I'll be back. Okay, guys. We better wrap it. I smelled dinner cooking. Blessed.
What's for dinner over there? What's your lady got cooking up?
I don't know what I smell. You know what? We got these meal trays now. That's like a bit of alpha I picked up in the bull market. It's like, well, you know, so I ordered us like kind of to take the burden off her because we've got a baby now that she's looking after a lot too. But she's cooking tonight. We've got some Parmesan truffle stuff, very potent, concentrated.
Poutine?
So
What do you guys eat up
might be
there?
stirring that into some pasta tonight, and we've got the poutine, which we ordered. I actually discovered my favorite burger joint is in this new city I moved to, so they're delivering, and we had that the other night. But yeah, I don't know. Tonight, it's always good though. She's really good cook, so
That's great.
I'm pumped.
Lucky man. All right, bud.
Yeah, feeling blessed, dude. Always a pleasure, my friend. Take care, guys, and whatever you do from now until next time, always play for a position of strength. Take care. Dude, if that SPY